And welcome back to the TSF Entertainment Channel. It is your boy Retro CG in the building, and tonight I am surrounded by beauty and prestige and just all of this in the building. We got Miss Really B TV in the house. What's up, girl?
What up, what up, what up?
And we got a special friend to the show, guest in the building. The Bell Perspective is in the building.
Hey. How you doing, y'all?
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
And
So excited to be
tonight,
here.
we are going to talk about Riches, Amazon Prime Video. This was unexpected for me. First thoughts, Belle.
Okay, well, I did feel like there were some gems. There were some gems in the show. I was like, "Ooh, that's a nugget." However, I guessed who the culprit was immediately.
Okay.
It was nice to see black faces.
Yeah.
Like the Dallas.
Yeah.
Realm.
It was very much.
Wasn't it very Dallas-y? Kind of like, right? So
Really, B, what was your first thoughts?
So I didn't want to watch it. I was like, it just looked like, I said, this is gonna be another like cheap, bad storyline. That was, but my subscribers, Xavier's in the room. He's one of them. Shout out to Xavier. Was like, no, you're gonna like it. Really, be watch it. I watched the first episode and I was hooked. I thought that the acting was good. I thought that the premise was good. And like you said, it was very 1980s, 90s soap opera drama. You know, it started off with a bang, but which I think is one of my frustrations with a lot of these new shows is that they give us way too much. The story moves way too fast. But in this, I think we got, I just, at the end of the first episode, I wanted to keep watching.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit y'all with that intro, and we're gonna be back to talk about Richard.
Hey.
And we are back. Shout out to everyone that's in the chat. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on y'all way in, on y'all way out, whatever it is that y'all doing. Thank y'all for being here in the building with us on this lovely Wednesday evening. Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year. What you drinking on?
This channel over here, we have cocktails.
I see you're drinking the drink of champions there.
There you go. So we're gonna get along just fine. So back to Riches. For me, Awesome would be the best way for me to describe Riches as a show. I thought it was well written. It was smoothly paced with the right placement of the plot lines. For me, that's a big thing for me, is when I watch a show and the narrative and the plot lines are all over the place and you got too many plot lines going on at one time, you got too many different stories going on at one time, it makes it real cluttered for the storylines that you actually take interest in. With this one, I thought it was perfectly paced. It was very good to see that Black people were at the center of this. To be in the UK, it was perfect. They also did a very good job in this universe making the story believable. You know, it wasn't so far-fetched as some of this other stuff that we were watching and we just scratch our head like make it make sense. For me, the storyline was very believable. The story is something that I could see happening in real life. It follows the story of Nina, who's the estranged daughter of Stephen Richards, who's the owner of a hair and I guess cosmetic business.
Mm-hmm.
And she inherits the business from him unexpectedly. And so I guess that's a good point for us to jump in as far as the story starts off, and it kind of gives us a real small. It gives us a real small backstory as far as Steven as the businessman, because he's sitting down with the journalist and he's being interviewed for the company, and he kind of makes reference in the interviews that, you know, all this time that I've been in business, all this time I've been a businessman, y'all just not showing interest in me and my company, you know. And then of course the journalist, you know, kind of wants to know whether or not, do you think it's because you're black? He's like, well, what do you think? And then the journalist wants to decide to start asking about his other children. So I guess that's a good point for us to start. What were your first thoughts of the opening scene?
Yeah, so I really appreciated the opening scene. I'll be honest with you, because like you said, you typically don't get to see black soaps like that. And so, and without having like, without, hopefully this doesn't sound offensive, but like white saviors and it being centered around somebody white, you know.
Yes.
I appreciated that. I also appreciated, like, and this is the first gem. I was like, oh, that's a gem, where he talked about how white people are always making black people up into knots, asking them if racism is real. And it's like, that's a real thing. And I feel like I love how they kept dropping real gems and talking about the actual black experience, but still, it was a still lighthearted show, if that makes sense. It wasn't
it wasn't heavy. It wasn't too heavy.
Right. It wasn't too, yes.
It was subtle enough for you to pick up on the nuances.
Correct.
But it wasn't oversaturated with racism. It wasn't oversaturated with the black experience.
Exactly.
Or Black Lives Matter.
Right.
You know, they didn't make it animated.
No.
I felt the same way, Lady Virtue. I didn't think that I was going to like it. I thought it was going to be like Tyler Perry haves and have not.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Not my thing. So
sorry for those who like it.
Shirley says, I like the story. It had meaning. It gave us a reason to watch and continue watching. And goes back to you, Bill. And same thing with me. You know, when you watch the first episode, they did a very good job pulling the audience in the very first episode, because you couldn't just watch the first episode and turn it off.
No.
You wanted to know what was getting ready to happen next.
Yeah. Exactly. And the acting, like you said, was really good. Like the acting was really, really good. I enjoyed. There were characters that I was like, man, I liked them. And I liked the way that they did things. There she go. I was wondering where you was at.
No, I was still having a bad connection, and I didn't want to interrupt y'all while y'all was talking. So I decided to come out and come back in.
So we were basically just talking about the opening scene where Steven was being interviewed. And pretty much he was telling the journalists about, you know, his rise to success. We also see at that point in the story, I believe we start to see where he wasn't feeling well, because I think immediately after the interview, the secretary came in to check on him, and he sent her home. And he reaches, well, no, actually, we shoot to Nina. Yes. Nina is being celebrated at her job. I think she's a vice president of marketing, and she just closed a big merchandising deal. So she's in the business world. So we see that she's a vice president in the business world. So she has the experience to navigate through this world that she's just been thrown into. And then she's out celebrating with her coworkers. I believe her boss alludes to the fact that she may be getting a promotion soon, and that she had been restless at the job. So we kind of knew right then and there, okay, yeah, this would be an opportunity for her to, you know, transition. We see that she's at the bar. She's at the bar with her coworkers. I think they're having like some after work drinks. I think the boss gave them off the rest of the day or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're celebrating still. And you see her sizing old dude up across the room.
He was fine. I want to be sizing him up too. Why would that? Sorry. Being honest. It was fine.
Right.
What's good, Juggy?
Hey, Juggy.
Retro, what's going on? What's up, fellas?
What's up, Juggy?
Juggy. Xavier, how you doing? Oh, in when they had more than 3 kids, because every soap they gave you only 3 kids, and it's always seemed weird to me. Well, yeah, this was a very extended family. We
Yes.
learned this is a very extended family. um, so we see that Nina is sizing up old dude. She gets a phone call. She steps outside to take the phone call. We see that it's an international number that's calling her, and it's her father. He wants to have a conversation with her. She immediately becomes defensive, like, how'd you get my number? Don't call me no more. We ain't got nothing to talk about. In that particular scene, they didn't show us the full conversation. They just showed us her reaction to the conversation. He did try to compliment her that she was doing well, and that I think he was trying to make amends with her before he passed. So do you think in that moment he knew that, his time was limited?
No.
What do you think the reason for the call was?
I think that's what he said. He knew. I think it was twofold. I think one, it was an excuse for him to try to bring his daughter in. I think there was a lot of guilt there. I still believe, and I told you this, Retro, I still believe that the father was more involved than the mother is letting on. We found out she lied about the money. I think
agree.
he wanted to be a part of his kid's life, and I think she didn't let him. And that might be something that might come out in season 2. So I think it was timing. I don't think he knew he was dying because of the cancer, but he didn't know he was gonna die that night. So I think it was him trying to make amends before the cancer got him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bill, what was your thoughts? What do you think the reason for the call?
That's a great question. I'm a little confused about it because I thought really be what you just said about him trying to make amends. But why so late? Because at this point, she's 35, I guess. I was doing the math. She said it was 92. She was 7 or something like that. Why so late to try to make amends? Why not? If the mother was potentially, if the mother was potentially blocking her from having a relationship, by the time she turns 15, 16, 17, 18, you can have a direct connection with your daughter.
But there's resentment there. There's resentment there.
Okay, that's true.
You saw that in her reaction when she answered the phone. There was resentment.
That's okay. That's a good point. But still, okay, she's 35, 36. You got a good 10 years of begging and groveling to do. And it just doesn't seem like he did any of that. So I'm not sure. I feel like these kids are the untainted kids. Sai and Nina are the untainted kids who will really keep it real with him. So he was reaching out for a lifeline. That's what I felt like.
I agree with you on that.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I also think is part of what really B was saying, that he was trying to clean up this mess while he still had time to clean it up.
Okay.
I think another part of it was fresh on his mind after the reporter had just asked about them in the interview.
Yes.
We learned later on in later episodes that he changed the wheel 6 months ago, so it's been in his mind.
Yeah.
And I think when the reporter brought up the topic of them, let me use this as a last ditch attempt to try to reach out to them and try to see if I can reconcile and make amends. And I agree with what Xavier is saying too. I don't think that he trusted his new family.
Right.
And because of the changes he made to the will, it's obvious that he didn't trust them, or he had doubts.
Yeah, I'm with Xavier. I feel like he couldn't trust nobody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really, B, if you there, what were you gonna say? Okay, so Nina decides we meet Nina's HR manager, I guess, who's also her friend. She's the godmother. She's expecting, and she kind of comments to Nina's dating, or how she chooses to date. She operates the 3 F's.
Right.
She operates the 3 F's. She finds them, she fucks them, and she forgets them.
Okay.
You ain't saying tonight.
Pretty much.
Like, look, she took old dude home, got what she needed out of him, and she was like,
okay.
You realize that sharing a bed with someone is really personal?
Yes.
I don't know you like that, so you got to get out before breakfast.
Damn. I felt bad for the
But I enjoyed you. I enjoyed you. Thank you.
Right. We had a good time.
But you got to go.
Yikes. Take your care package at the door, right? Get your little
why she
care
had to
package
put
at
on dude out in the middle
Okay.
of the night.
Yikes.
So Simon shows up.
But again, I think that goes. We're going to see that that's a pattern with her, and I think that just goes back to that I'm not going to let nobody get too close to me. The wall, her having her wall up about not wanting to get hurt. I think we're going to see that's her daddy issues.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's a good time, not a long time. You right. You got that right.
I like that. Oh, I like that,
Okay.
Raven. It's a good time, not a long time.
It's a good time, not a long time.
Oh, I like that one. It's a good time, not a long time.
Oh man, hey, she gonna do the Pop Tart or anything. Yeah, can I get a glass of water before I go?
Okay, nah, bruh.
No, okay.
Yeah, you get. I got a bottle of Aquafina. Let me go and hand it to you as you walk out the door.
As you walk out the door, and she was escorting him to the door too.
No, high key.
Right, Xavier. She could have let him stay to the morning and have breakfast. He might have made breakfast
Xavier
for
said,
him.
"Let him make him some breakfast."
Nah.
Nah, he can't make no breakfast. Nah, he can't make no breakfast.
You got to go.
Your shoes by the door already. Let's go.
No.
Look, you ain't got to go home. You just got to get
up. You know the rest.
You ain't got to go home.
So as unknown dude, because we even get to know his name, and I don't even think she knew his name. Right?
She definitely didn't know his last name. She might have knew his first name, but I promise you, she didn't know his last name.
He went there long enough for that. He put that work in, and he got on out the door. But as he's being escorted out the door, Simon is approaching the door and coming in. He's like, "Who the fuck is this?" But Simon is there to tell her.
Simon was used to it. He was so unbothered.
He was so unbothered. Like he really just was like, "Oh, okay. So you Tuesday night? Okay."
Simon was my favorite character. I love Simon.
I was just about to say that Simon was my favorite character.
He was so unbothered by all of it because I like the fact that he would call Nina out on her shit.
Yes,
but he supported her. He had her back 100%.
Even
but
if
he let her know when she was tripping.
Yes.
Yeah, even if he didn't agree.
And I could appreciate that.
Yeah. And he brought the American spin to some of the things too. Like there were a lot of things that were very much English, and
even though all the actors are British, right? Even though all of them are British.
Yeah.
So I could hear, and I don't remember what her first name is, but the main character, Nina, I could hear her accent. I could hear her English accent coming out.
Yeah.
So
I saw a TikTok. I started to send it to you. I meant to send it to you, Retro. It was a TikTok of them like answering questions, and I was like, all of them are British. All of them have a British accent.
Okay.
And
I can hear Nina's accent, but remember, Nina was older and she was around her mom and dad. And her mom and dad were from Africa. So I kind of didn't pay that much attention to the fact that she had an accent because I thought it was probably like that weird hybrid of did have an accent, but I've been living in America kind of long. It's like that hybrid. So yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Fresh?
We had saw in the earlier scene that Simon was, I guess he's a hairstylist or maybe a celebrity stylist or something to that effect.
Yeah, it looked like he's a celebrity stylist, hairstylist, makeup, whatever. Yeah.
He had received a phone call earlier, letting them know that his father had passed. So as he's coming in the door, he pretty much tells Nina that Stephen is dead. We need to go for the funeral. The lawyer had called, Gideon had called them and told him that they needed to come for the funeral. Nina was not for it. She didn't want to go. She wasn't interested. And he kind of like, listen, we need to go. We need to get this closure. We hadn't seen the man in 30-something years. We need to go and handle this business. And she was like, fine, it's a couple of days. I'll go. They end up going to meet with their mother, and she was pissed, to say the least. She did not want them to have any type of involvement.
And that was my first clue that is more to that story because she's still bitter as hell.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. They moved on, and she's now they did a very good job showing her scratching and surviving, so to speak, because she mentioned that she had to stay with her sister, she had to stay here, stay there. That's the part where we feel like she wasn't necessarily 100% truthful with Nina. And it goes back to when sometimes when couples divorce and there's children involved, that one parent that has full custody of that child is always feeding negativity into the
Yeah.
other child about the other parent.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always another side to that
Exactly.
that the child later doesn't know until later on down the line, and
Right,
instances like this where it comes out.
Right. Because I
So
believe the mom when she said later on that in the beginning he didn't give them any money, but then later on he did. I believe that in the beginning she probably was struggling. I do believe
yeah,
that in the beginning. But I
I
also
agree too.
believe that at a certain point you weren't struggling anymore and you never told your kids. Like you continue to
right.
let your kids think that it was all you that, but
Exactly.
I do believe in the beginning because it sounds like in the beginning it was real bitter. It sounds like there was an affair. He left her to be with the other woman, and we already see Claudia is
Oof.
a piece of work,
That raggedy
So I think I believe in the beginning, but I do
raggedy.
believe that once the company started making money, I believe he was sending significant amounts of money. I think I think he wanted a relationship. I don't think he wanted to be absent from them. I don't think she allowed it. But I could be wrong.
No, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think you're right.
So um somehow I think I missed a part. I think I missed the part where Stephen actually dies. So
Yes.
the secretary comes in, she checks on him, and he sends her home, and he ends up collapsing in his office. We see that Claudia is laid up in the bed with Andre. At the time, we didn't know who Andre was. We saw her laid up in the bed with another man while her husband was dying. But
Mhm.
she was laying up in the bed with Andre.
Trifling.
Wanda actually receives the call, goes to the hospital, and now she's trying to get the rest of the siblings and the rest of the family there. So she's calling Gus, who's at the club spending money like
Oh, child. A
like
mess.
we celebrating something. I don't know what we celebrate because his friends was there buying bottle after bottle on his credit
Mm-hmm.
card. Even the
Mm-hmm.
I just feel
waitress
like that was
said,
his regular Friday night.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
he
thinking
stayed
like
in the
that's
club
his regular nightly routine, not Friday
yes,
night. That's every night.
every night.
Yeah,
Yes, but want people to take him seriously.
right.
Seriously though. I'm like, yo, Dusty,
Right.
And we've
behind who
seen
can
that
I
kind of
guess?
character
I
before.
don't
He's
know.
paying for friendship. He's paying for importance. He
Pretty much.
because we see it
What
in the
words can I say? Can I curse? I don't know. I don't. I
you
was gonna say,
absolutely can.
okay. I don't want to get nothing.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
you first.
Listen, I told
Okay.
you this is a free flowing zone over here.
Okay. Okay.
Because I have a potty mouth, so
Yeah, me too. Me
And
too.
so do I.
Yes. Spoiled rich kid, Lady Virtue.
He was
Absolutely
a
spoiled
spoiled
rich.
rich kid up in there, and the waitress even tried to say something to him about, they rinsing your card, they spending up
Right.
all your money. He was like, "Oh, it's okay." And then he answers the call from Wanda. He breaks out to go to the hospital. They're trying to get in touch with the other sister, Alicia,
Mm-hmm.
who looks like she's a social media influencer.
Mm-hmm.
I think she does like
yeah,
makeup tutorials or something like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the middle of doing
yeah.
a tutorial. She saw her sister calling, which I feel like everybody pretty much just tolerates Wanda, but really don't like Wanda because she's the bratty little sister. They get on everybody's nerves.
Yes. And was she the youngest one?
She
I
was the
couldn't remember.
youngest.
She was
Yeah,
the
she was
young.
the youngest.
So that's why
And
she was
mouthy. She
annoying.
was
Yeah,
real mouthy.
Very. Okay. That
She,
makes sense now.
she got on my nerves the first scene when she was at the hospital talking about she need to talk to the consultant. Like, you're 12. Go sit down.
Right. So annoying. So annoying. I thought she was married to that boy she was with. I
And he
thought they
was
were
running it
married at
down on
first.
her too. He was running down on her and spending up all her
Mm-hmm.
money. So eventually Claudia gets to the hospital right in time. He passes. We see that Gus is trying to make his way to the hospital and he gets pulled over by a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was a little irritated with the storyline because I'm like, we've seen this before. We know exactly what's getting ready to happen.
Right.
The white cop,
Right.
the white UK British cop is
Right.
going to give the black African kid a hard time because he's driving a fancy car and nice
Mm-hmm.
clothes. So we knew where that storyline was going.
Right.
But what ended up happening, which really kind of brought to my attention, was he ended up, because I couldn't figure out why Gus was so stuck on that moment, like trying to get revenge on the cop or whatever the case may be, because I didn't feel like the cop took it too far with him.
No.
I feel like he was an asshole. Don't get me wrong. I feel like he was an asshole, and I feel like he was definitely racial undertones was definitely present in the scene.
Mhm.
But I didn't feel like the dude accosted him or treated him unjustly per se. So I was trying to figure out why he was so upset. And really be pointed out to me that it was because he made him miss his father passing. Because by the time Gus got to the hospital, he had passed on.
Okay.
And so and I guess
And
that's
whether that's legitimate or not, like he still might not have made it, but in his mind, you're the
reason
reason why
I
I
didn't make
it.
Right. You're the reason why I didn't make it. That's absolutely right.
And I like the way that, and I said this in my reviews, I like the way that they showed us a lot of these micro, racist moments. We had the situation with Alicia at the store where the woman thought she worked there was, we had the time when Nina was at the bar and the guy thought she was a hooker. Like we had these microaggressions. It didn't slap you in the face enough to say, yeah, we dealing with this too. And I could appreciate that. I thought it was well done. The way they threw it in there. I really like the fact that they
me too.
I really like the fact that the way they did it.
And the fact that they did it so subtly, we as Black people recognized it immediately, but it wasn't over the top. It wasn't embellished. It wasn't done sloppy. It was done in the reality of everyday life.
Right. I was just going to say.
The reality of everyday life. I mean, how many times we go into a store and feel like we're being followed?
Yes.
No matter how well we dress, no matter how much money we have, we always going to be typecast. Right. How many times have we been in a situation where you have a pretty Black girl and you automatically think that she's tricking? Right. Now, I'm not going to say that Nina was a trick, but she was.
But the fact that he was a hooker, right? The fact that he just assumed he was waiting for escort, and he just assumed that she was the escort, and it's like, hello.
Right.
He absolutely assumed she was. I mean, off top, he was like, "How much?" I'm like, "Really?"
Right. What?
So I feel like maybe a couple of days may have passed. I don't know. The way Claudia was moving, it might have been the next day. She don't get ready to put this man in the ground.
Now it was the next day.
I felt like it was the very next day.
Next day.
He got it.
Okay.
The fact that she didn't even wait to read the will, like.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it was the very next day.
Very next day.
The very next day. They got money too. We could go ahead and bury him tomorrow.
Yep. Real.
So the kids are at the house and they're arguing back and forth. And I don't even know what they were arguing about, to be quite honest with you. Oh, I think Wanda was trying to check Alicia about why she didn't answer the phone.
Oh, yeah. Saying she was busy with her influences or something.
Yeah, busy doing makeup or something like that.
Right.
And
that's
so
why
Claudia,
I didn't answer the phone, because ain't nobody trying to hear all that.
No.
That's exactly why they didn't answer the phone, because ain't nobody want to hear all that from her. But then Claudia tries in that moment. You tried to almost feel like, okay, Claudia is going to try to do the right thing, keep her kids together, because we see where this is getting ready to spiral out of control.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, family's first. I'm not here for all this infighting. We're going to stick together as a family." Until we realized that she changed the time of that funeral so those kids couldn't get there. That was low down and dirty.
Exactly. I mean, damn. You not only
can't get dirtier than that.
You really can't. And she's the second wife. It's not like somebody came in and swooped in on her husband and had a whole nother family. So I don't even understand how she can have so much contempt for these kids that existed before she even came along.
Yeah. And one of them, I feel like, me and Really B was talking about this off camera. I really do feel like she may not even have got a chance to even meet those kids previously, especially Simon, because we know that Simon was the youngest and he didn't have many memories of his father. So, maybe the mother was pregnant with Simon at the time when they left. Because in the flashbacks, they always showed just the mother and Nina.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
for you to have this kind of disdain towards children that you have never met, and they've never asked you for anything. It's been 30-something years. They've never showed up, looking for a handout or anything. She was just low down and dirty for that. Like,
because husband takers are evil. Who is that virgin love? You're right.
Yeah, husband takers.
I'm telling you, how you get them is how you lose them.
Y'all one-liners about our own point.
You better say it again.
Husband takers.
I'm telling you.
You go hear that again
Right.
in another review. Husband taker. People rules. How dare he? That cop. Yeah. In the whole cop scene, like I said, we knew the minute we saw the blue lights, we already knew what type of scene was getting ready to go down with that. Andre, who's the CFO for the company, who's acting like he's the executive of the state, he's Claudia's personal man toy that she plays with.
You mean traveling dick? Because
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
that's
he's
exactly
giving
what
it
he's
to everybody.
on call. No, he's on call dick, not traveling dick.
You're right. On call dick.
She called, he come.
Okay.
Literally.
But wait a minute though, because he was getting what about the other girl, the light skinned girl? He was
fucking the girl at the job. He was Davina.
You're right.
Right.
Yes.
But he was following Claudia around like a lost puppy. But I think that was more about
her little fuck toy.
I'm telling you.
Right.
You're right. That's it. On call dick. That's what it is. That's it. Yes. Running right behind. Spineless.
Okay. Exactly. And and honestly, that's, Claudia, she dirty. Like, she is low down, because it sounds like, what I was able to gather, you were the other woman, you were having an affair, and I think, I don't know this, I've got the impression, and I can't tell you where I got it from, but I got the impression that Claudia was probably pregnant with Alicia. I got the impression that Claudia was pregnant with Alicia when the daddy left.
I think so.
Virgin love.
I love it, Virgin. I love it. Keep it
coming. But it's the truth.
Keep it coming. She said he was a human dildo.
I need one of them, Virgin love. If you can find me one, I need me one.
Oh Lord. You can
find
one
on sell them.
Girl, what you talking about?
So much for monetizing this video.
I said you can find one on Tinder real quick. Just something real quick.
We're not doing the date nap.
Swipe right.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing date naps.
No dating naps. Okay.
No, you meet murderers on date naps.
Nah, I'm saying if you can order your food on the app.
I know people who have gotten married. They found somebody and they've married them. Date naps are not the devil. Ain't nothing wrong with a date nap.
Ain't nothing wrong with a date nap.
So Claudia's human dildo comes in and gets her papers to sign. She's like, it's family time. It's family time or whatever. And the aunts are over there on the couch, and they're messy.
So messy.
The man
the aunts ain't feeling her. You can tell the aunts don't even like her.
Yeah,
no, they don't.
They did not like her. They like, she over here spending up his money already. He ain't even dead.
Yes.
And so
right.
We see Nina and Simon arrive at the airport, and they realize that they have missed the funeral. Claudia is pissed. And I don't know what came over her, because initially I thought she was going to turn right back around and get back on the plane, go back home. But something came over her, and she was like, no, we're going to go over here to the house.
I think Gideon called them.
Or text them or something.
I think Gideon called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he sent them a text and told them, come on. And so they get there we later find out that she wants to read the will right now. And the lawyer's like, I don't think this is
Gideon knows what's in the will, and that's why he wants them there, because he knows what's in the will.
Yeah, because I felt like he was stalling at some point. He was trying to stall to make sure that they got there.
That's what I thought too. Okay, I thought that too. I'm like, he must be okay. So I'm confused. Well, we'll get further down in the.
No, go ahead before you lose your thought.
Well, so I don't understand what was the reason for Gideon to do what he was doing, but wanting to give Nina and Simon in on, like, he seemed like he was trying to help them, be a part of the business, and was advocating for them. But to find out later on that he actually was stealing, like, I don't understand.
I got two theories on that.
Okay.
One, I feel like he wasn't greedy because he was siphoning. It wasn't like he was. I mean, even though he took 20 million,
right?
20 million in itself, is a lot of money. But he was siphoning, because remember they said he had bought up all of their copyrights and then he was leasing back to them. So he was getting residual. He was getting residual money.
Right.
Part of me feels like he didn't really think that Nina was going to take it, because initially she was going to sell the stock. She was going to sell the stock and go back home. So that would have been fine with him if she would have done that.
Right.
So I feel like he was playing both sides. He was playing both sides to be that trusted confidence, so he wouldn't be suspected, because he had set everything up where Andre would be the fall guy. So I don't feel like he was at risk. I think he thought that he was smart enough to not have gotten caught. And if it wasn't for Nina, he wouldn't have gotten caught. And then he also knew that Steven's family was money hungry and thirsty, that they would have been known bankrupt the company before any of that came out anyway.
Okay. So he was betting on Nina not taking it because, we'll talk more about it because
we'll talk more about it. So we get to the will reading and we find out that Steven leaves his secretary $1 million. And I'm like, $1 million for a secretary? But but the message that came with that, she's been by my side from day one. I could see you rewarding a loyal servant to you over the years. If you had that kind of money, I would do something like that.
She wasn't Alfred. You acting like she was Alfred, like she was tending to his every need.
But to him, apparently she was. He left for $1 million.
No, she was the lover and the secretary. That's what she was. She was part-time lover. That's what she was.
She was the lover and the secretary.
Because that's the kind of money you leave for a lover and a secretary.
And she was working way beyond 9 to 5. She was working way beyond 9 to 5.
That's what I'm saying. I was like,
when he left her $1. Yeah, well, when he left her $1 million, I knew she knew where all the bodies were buried. I said, I don't know what the bodies are yet, but she know where all the bodies are buried.
And she did. I'm
telling you. I said, her hands is
then we also found out that she had another reason too. But just to go back real quick to the whole Gideon thing, I also feel like Gideon, I agree with what both of y'all are saying actually about Gideon. I think part of it was that Gideon felt like he was so smart. He thought he was smart because remember, he thought he's smarter than Steven. He thought he was so smart that he was able to hide it so well that they wouldn't. I don't think he ever thought they were going to find it.
Exactly.
He had gotten away with it for so long. I don't know if he even knew, because remember, I don't think he like you said, I don't think he anticipated that Nina would dig that deep. I don't even think he anticipated that Nina would do it. He definitely think that he would dig that deep.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if Gus had taken over, he would have never found it. Gus wouldn't have found it.
That's it. Do you think
Gus didn't know what was going on? He was there every day.
He really
every day. It didn't know what was going on. Right.
So with that being said, do you think that? Because when they came to the country club and they were talking to him and all those white people were looking at them, do you think that he felt that way about black people? Like, I'm just here. These black people not going to see what I'm doing. They don't know anything.
I didn't get that impression. I didn't get that impression from him or the secretary.
Okay.
I don't feel like that, but I do feel like there was a level of inferiority. Like they owe me. That's what I'm saying. He was like, Steven owe me. And Nina had to put him in his place and be like, whoa. No, this was my mother's company. So you did what you were paid to do. Like, this was your job. Like, don't act like you did something more. You did your job.
Right.
And you were paid a job. Like, you weren't owed anything more. So I think there was a level of entitlement. There might have been, maybe it's based on race, but I think it was just more based on, I'm entitled to this. I did this and I did. Steven never recognized, never gave me my due, so I had to take it,
Yeah, I agree with you. Ugh. Stealing. I don't like a thief, but keep going.
That is true, Shelley. We did learn that he was fired, and Claudia was the reason behind him getting fired. So he may have thought that he could have wiggled his way back into the company and further hide his stealing. So that's a good point right there. But we learned that the brothers and the sisters got $500,000. His genetic bloodline, that verbiage. So I feel like that verbiage
that was very important.
That was very important because I feel like that verbiage just didn't apply to the 3 kids with Claudia. I felt like it applied to Nina, it applied to Simon, and it applied to the mystery child, the love child. So that's 6 of them splitting $30 million. And then he drops the bomb and says, I leave all my shares in the company to Nina and Simon. And what did he say that for? That damn Claudia lost her mind.
It was big mad.
She lost her mind.
Listen, she don't threw the fruit bowl across the table. She don't cussed at the girl, told everybody to get out. And she like, I'm gonna take you to court and get what's mine. And she was like, I ain't gonna be like your mama and take this lady down. Ooh. And he was like, say it again. I need you to say that to me one more time.
I bet you she ain't say it again, no.
She sure didn't.
And Claudia saw that pressure. She saw that pressure. She was like, I don't want no smoke.
She did. She don't want no smoke.
I don't want no smoke. I'm sorry.
Right.
She still got to get up out my house.
Okay.
But Claudia got left just the house at an appropriate income.
Right.
And I feel like just enough money to pay the bills in the house. That's what she got left.
Right.
The house and just enough bills to keep the lights on. That's
right.
It. That's
but later on, we found out that was $20,000 a month.
Later on, we found out it was $20,000, and she had her nose turned up about that. Like, how am I supposed to live off $20,000 a month? Live?
Look, I'll take $20,000 a month.
Okay.
In a paid for mansion.
Okay.
In a paid for mansion with a domesticated staff.
With a house that's paid for. I can live real good with like you said, with a paid for house and $20,000 a month. Oh, I'm good.
And a staff.
I'm real good.
And staff, girl.
Right. I'm real
but
good.
That is supposed to show
and
how
she's on the board. And she's on the board, so that means she gets dividends from the company.
Yes.
She's a shareholder.
But
so
that just shows how greedy.
You had money. That was greed. We saw that right there, then and there. That was greed. So I don't really remember much of what happened in episode 2. I feel like episode 2 was kind of a transitional episode. I feel like things really started popping off in episode 3. I think in episode 2, we saw that Nina was transitioning into the company.
Yeah.
And she go ahead, Crystal.
Well, episode 2, right? We see Nina getting, her and Maureen. She convinces Maureen to stay. She's figuring out the players. She sees Andre and she's like, hold up, something here is off.
You don't
we
feel
see
right.
her building a relationship with Alicia. Remember, she ends up offering Alicia a job. And Alicia was the first one to kind of come around. Alicia was the first one to, but we see Claudia desperate. We see her desperate and trying to figure out the whole thing with. Oh, in episode 2 is when we found out about the secret shareholder.
Oh,
I don't think that happened in episode 2.
It was in episode 2 because at the end of episode 2, she was sleeping with old boy that she met off of Tinder. And it ended up he was the one.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was the last thing we saw in episode 2 because episode 3 was episode 3 the party? It was like the
episode 3
America's
was a party.
Next Top Model thing.
Episode 3 was a party. Yeah.
Right. So that was episode 2. She found out she didn't know who he was. He was just some hookup.
Yeah, but that's when we got introduced to the character. Yeah.
Yeah, but we found out that there was a secret. Yeah, we found out there was a secret shareholder.
And on top of that, there was something going on with the products. One of the products, I think it was a conditioner or a shampoo or something or a relaxer that failed quality inspection.
That's how they ended up getting Alicia.
That's how Alicia got involved because she was reading the Facebook posts where they were getting dragged about somebody's hair got burnt up. And so she sends Gus initially to resolve the issue. Gus going on job interviews and getting drunk at the bar.
Yes.
And then that's when Nina and Alicia decide to go down there and they meet the production manager who was like, I knew something was wrong with it, but we need to make shipment, so we sent it out anyway. And I'm like, yeah, you finna get fired.
And he said it so calmly, like everything was okay.
Yeah. So what? Somebody hair got burnt. Who cares? We had to make shipment.
we knew we knew it was gonna hurt people, but we just went on and sent it out anyway.
Yeah, we need to get this truck out.
We also get the impression, right. We also found out that Alicia was sort of even though she was the oldest, she was the one that they never wanted her in the company because we found out she had dyslexia. Yeah. And she was like, I was disregarded because I struggled in school. I wasn't considered the smart one, but she probably knew more about the beauty industry than all of them.
And she did.
She did tutorials and she was making a success on her media. Own. Right.
Yeah, she was making her own success off of social media with her tutorials.
I immediately thought she was going to be a part of the business, but when I found out she wasn't, I'm like, "What is going on?" So I feel like Nina was
that episode where Claudia, you could see where I don't necessarily feel like maybe Steven as much it showed the mother when the mother was outside her house, and she was like, "What was you doing in that boardroom today?" And yada yada yada. And then she told her that Nina had offered her a job. And she's like, "Oh, you don't need to take that job. You need to just go and mind your business and stay out of the business and get out of our way or whatever." And you saw what she did immediately after that mama left. She called and said, "I'll take the job." So we saw where Claudia was kind of like stepping on her neck.
Alicia's the rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She went left. Yeah.
Right. Because her family didn't accept her, or I won't say didn't accept her, but she was kind of like cast to the side.
Did we also see in episode 2 where Maureen was deleting them emails? I know she had asked for IT to get her access to everything.
I think that was that episode 2. I think that was episode 2. We saw her.
Yeah, because remember,
no, I really think that was at the end of episode 1.
Okay.
Was it the end of episode 1 or was it the end of episode 2?
It had to happen in 1 and 2 because remember she confronted her in the bathroom in 3 at the party.
Okay.
And it had to happen. And the girl got fired too. So somewhere between episode 2 and 3, the girl got fired because Maureen used her login
to delete the emails.
Okay.
We also learned that this girl, she works at the job. I don't know what her position was at the company, but she worked there. And she
worked in accounting. She had to work in accounting.
Yeah. She did. She worked in accounting.
Yeah. And Andre was sleeping with her too. And so because we had even seen an episode where they had just got finished doing they do, and he was calling Claudia. And she was like, "Where you going?" He was like, "You need to go back to work. I got to go see my other mama. I got to go see my purse. Right. My purse is calling."
Right. I gotta go see my purse. Right, exactly.
Oh my God.
So a lot did actually happen in episode 2 then. I forgot about all those things. And then we see Simon that's kind of on the sideline that's still trying to feed Nina and Simon this information or whatever. Oh, we missed a really important part. We missed the most important part. She was going to sign the shares over to them.
What?
I don't know if she was going to sell it to him. I think she was going to sell it to him, not give it to him.
Right. No.
Either way, she was getting ready to sign the company over to them until Claudia popped off of that big mouth.
Running her mouth.
Claudia started to, and that's what they said. They said all you had to do was keep your mouth shut.
Yep. And she would have been gone.
But you're right. She was going to sign those shares over.
She was getting ready to sign those shares over because Simon had already told her that whatever she decided to do, he was going to agree with her and sign with her, side with her, or whatever. So they had already came to the resolution that they was going to give the shares back. She started popping off at the mouth about, "Oh, my husband worked so hard for this company, and this it belongs in this family." And she was like, "No, my mom founded this company in our kitchen."
Right.
And so she was like, "You know what? Deal's off." And so at that point, we knew that, okay, yeah, I'm not going away. You want me to go away? You popping off, you bumping your gums a little too much at me.
Right.
Nah, I'm finna stay here and see what you really trying to get me away from here.
She had one job, and that was
one job. And that's what Andre told her. Andre told her, like,
just to
shut up.
Just shut up.
You just shut up. And then Gus tried to buck his little chest up.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
Big
I was
man,
like,
you can't talk to me mom like that. You can't talk to my mom like that.
Oh, right. Pipe down, Gus. Pipe down.
What is this? You can't talk to my mom like this.
Yeah, because he did.
After he don't showed up, because remember when he got turned down on the job interviews, he had went to all the job interviews, and they pretty much told him you were unhireable. Like, do you have any real business skills outside of working for the family business? No. So come back to us when you worked in the real world. Basically, that's what that last guy told him. Like, come back to us when you worked in the real world because you don't have any hireable skills. And so he got upset, came drunk, showed up at the meeting when they was trying to fix the cosmetic issue with the conditioner or whatever, drunk. And Nina, I felt like Nina should have fired him. She would have been well within her right too, but she did. She was like, "Listen, if this your company, man up, because I gave you one job and you was to go fix a problem and you come back as a problem."
Right.
So you see her not even coming in on some ego tripping shit. She wasn't even ego tripping. She wasn't power tripping. No. She did lay the law down and say, "I'm the new boss."
Right.
But we are going to work together, as she should.
Right.
But we are going to work together, and we're going to keep the legacy of the company going. But there's going to be some changes while I get brought up to speed. You know, I need everyone to play their part. And I think she did a very good job communicating to the team what her expectations was as the new CEO, and she should have.
Right.
But you see her trying to work with the siblings. You know, she didn't try to outcast them. She let Gus keep his job and title as deputy CEO.
Right.
And she even offered Nina a job knowing she can't read.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. I'm sorry too.
My bad. Yes.
How does she do so well on social media then? Like, she's a beast with her phone.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all are terrible.
I know.
I mean, you see her scrolling on social media. I'm like,
you can do text to talk.
I guess so.
Or talk to text.
Exactly.
I know I am Xavier. I know. I'm sorry. I'm really wrong. I'm sorry.
So wrong.
So we get to the party. Oh, well, one of the things we addressed too, it was kind of subtle, but this is something that you rarely see: black on black colorism. And this is a sore spot for Really B. She really don't. She really with colorism topics. Because some people use that as a scapegoat when it's not really colorism, and I think that's what really irks her when people holler colorism when it really isn't colorism. But in this case, I felt like it was colorism because the mama strategically wanted to pick this face of Flair. Flair and Glory is the name of the company, and they have this annual big production where they announce a new model or new face of the company to market the brand. Mm-hmm. And they're having like a planning meeting for this banquet award ceremony, whatever. And Maureen, she messy. She was like, Mrs. Richards just called a meeting, and Nina's like, on what authority? She don't even work here. Like, how she called a board meeting? She don't
real.
And so
I really didn't understand that. Yeah.
So we found out that she wants to pick this one particular model who's biracial, light-skinned, and has 3.2 million followers on Instagram. And, Alicia is the only one that's bucking it. Gus is going with the flow. Andre can't say anything because his purse is talking.
Right.
Wanda is just, she's like a little gnat, a cricket. Yeah. She's a cricket that you can't find.
Right.
And so really Alicia was just trying to hold her own. Like, no, if we're truly going to be a black-owned business, a black-owned company, but yet and still we don't celebrate brown and black women. And so by this time, Nina comes in.
This is absolutely colorism.
Oh yeah, absolutely colorism.
Yeah.
Nina comes in and finds out that the mama
colorism. I don't have no issue with this at all. This is colorism all day.
Nina comes in and finds out that the mama wants to spend $500,000 on this one night only party. She was like, I'm not approving that. In fact,
I was getting ready to do the same thing.
You were too? One night only?
Listen, one night only. You want to spend $500K on a party, and you just found out that you are missing $20 million. Nina's like, I'm not approving that. And matter of fact, you go and get up out of here because you don't work here.
Right.
You don't make no decisions in this company.
Exactly.
Right.
Just aside from the topic of the colorism thing, did y'all hear about how, I don't know if it was Nigeria, some country on the continent decided that they were no longer going to use light complected or white models as the fake for advertising. I don't know how true that was, but I feel like I saw it on Twitter. I need to look it up. I'll share it with y'all. But did y'all?
And it may have played into this storyline right here because it segued very well into, because you even saw the reaction to the model when she wasn't chosen. She left the banquet or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. I felt like they handled that very well. I feel like they addressed it and handled it very well as they should have.
I agree.
And so Nina's now faced with this decision. One, do I need to cancel this party because we don't have the money for it? Mm-hmm. And if I don't choose the right model and this becomes a flop and sales continue to go down, then we're going to lose even more money. But we see that she made the right decision. We see that she chose the brown-skinned girl.
Yep.
And it actually helped their brand. Mm-hmm. It made their sales go up. It made their, it brought a different audience to Flair and Glory. But we also saw at the party a lot of things, and I had called Really B because I had some questions at this point. I said, I got questions at this point. I knew she hadn't watched it. She said, no, you're right at the point where you're starting to get answers. So at the party, we learned that Davina comes in and she drunk and she makes her way to the table and she pretty much puts Claudia on blast with Andre because she had no got into his phone. So I guess they were sexting or whatever. And we learned that Maureen, we knew that Nina found out that Maureen was deleting the emails, which was very surprising why she didn't fire her. But I like how she handled that because she basically was like, I'm gonna keep my enemies close.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on her because she know where the body's at. So I might keep her around for a little while.
Yes.
Really B, help me. I'm missing something. Oh, what the journalist. So the journalist was at the party. We see that he was talking to
the journalist
Alicia.
talking to everybody.
Okay.
He was talking to Alicia, but he was also talking to Wanda's boyfriend.
Yes.
As well. But that didn't register with us at that time. That didn't register at us.
No.
And it didn't register with her either.
Mm-mm.
The reporter ends up doing a story on them and putting all their dirty laundry out of the street. And they thought that it was Alicia that leaked the story too.
I don't understand how they would even think that it was Alicia that did that.
Because Wanda looked over there at her
and saw
when
her.
she was talking to the journalist. But she didn't catch when her boyfriend was talking to the journalist. She only saw when her sister was.
Got it.
That's why she thought it was her.
Yeah.
Anything else in episode 3 of importance?
No, I just think it was important that the campaign was successful though. Even after all of that, the campaign was successful.
It was.
It blew up on social media.
Is this also when all the dirty laundry? So it was the dirty laundry that was airing and the campaign at the same time was okay. Was this was also the episode where they had the focus groups as well, right? Talking about how old Flair and Glory
next episode.
Okay.
No, that was this episode because they were watching the video. They were watching the video where the people were talking about the relaxer and how it was old and how the website and stuff didn't work.
Xavier said this is the episode where we find out. This is also the episode where Nina finds out that the guy is the holder.
Okay.
I thought that happened a little later on. Yeah.
No, that's the episode because the next episode is when they do the vote. The
next episode is where Claudia go around and start talking to all the shareholders. And I think this is even the next episode where she confronts him at the gym.
That's when Claudia brings in that deal. Yeah, that's when the episode 4 starts off with Nina in bed with Odu. Remember they out on the balcony and he's like, I want to really get to know you. I want to date you. Like let's go out on a real date. And she blows him off. She finds that's the episode where she finds out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we know okay. Yeah, we find out. Yeah,
but she doesn't find out.
She doesn't know. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it's very interesting because it was very interesting. The kids acted exactly like how I expected them to. But what was surprising was Wanda's reaction. Alicia's reaction, because Alicia was like, lay off of mom. She was like, what do you think dad was doing in that penthouse that he had, or whatever the case may be? That was
Alicia is very practical.
Yeah.
I
think she was forced to be that way because she's
feeling
her family. Okay, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
And I think she's old enough to remember things that doesn't recognize.
That's a good point.
So what was let's just guess.
I'm sorry, y'all. I have a delay. I feel like I keep talking. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you okay?
That's fine. What's the age gap between Alicia and Nina? I know Alicia's younger, but would you say she's probably like 7? 8?
I would say 7 years.
Okay, 7 years. Okay.
And the reason why I say it was 7 years was Claudia was pregnant at the time when he left her.
Okay.
And she said they were 7 years old. She hadn't seen him since a sunny day in 1993.
Got it.
And she was 7 years old in 93. Okay. So I'm thinking there's a 7-year gap between her and Nina.
So Alicia and Simon are about the same, or probably the same age.
Probably so. They're
Yeah.
closer to age, yeah.
Got it.
And
Okay.
they look, and the way they casted them,
Yeah, I
they
think they're probably
casted it
within a
where,
year of each other.
Yeah.
they casted them as if they could be within a year of each other.
Yeah.
They did a very good job with casting.
I was just about to say they did a very good job. It's not no, and you know how Black families, sometimes you have a whole bunch of dark skinned people and then all of a sudden a light skinned person could pop up.
Yeah.
But they were strategic about how,
Yep.
you know, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so episode 4, we find out that Andre has been brokering a deal with the a competitor, I would suppose.
Mm-hmm.
This other cosmetic company that they were trying to
like
get
a
to
big,
invest in.
a white, you know, but like a white, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Claudia is basically going to present the opportunity to all of the shareholders, which is Simon's relatives.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mysterious shareholder. They didn't show us on camera, but off camera, she approached the dude that she was sleeping with, that Nina was sleeping with, Rishi.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's got all the shareholders on her side at this point, and they're all going to vote for them to receive this investment. They weren't trying to sell the company; they were trying to get Ultimate to invest $150 million into the company and to get a stake on the board as well as shares in the company. Nina's like, why would y'all run to a white cosmetic company and think that y'all gonna build a Black utopia
exactly
with the white man?
Exactly.
I said, damn it, if she wouldn't tell them the truth.
I told you they was dropping gems this whole. Now that was the one thing that I really loved about this show.
Do you really think these white folk gonna let you have your way
No.
in a company where y'all already done lost $20 million?
Exactly.
And you think they're gonna give you $150 million and let you blow all that?
Run and do what you like. No.
No, y'all finna be pushed to the side. Y'all finna be taking out the trash.
Pretty much.
Because y'all ain't making no decisions.
And they saw it immediately. And remember, they saw it immediately when they came up with the idea for the beauty brand. Mm-hmm. And Ultimate was like, yeah, no, stay in your lane. We already have a beauty brand. Y'all stay in y'all lane. And exactly. I know in that moment, Alicia was like, damn, Nina was right.
Yep. But I guess that just goes to show you like what these large or these small Black-owned companies go through when they are being bought out. Because the company like Shea Moisture, I think yesterday when I was watching, Mael Cosmetics was trending on Twitter talking about basically how it may get sold out because white people are paying attention to it. They're buying the product. It may be bought by a larger, company. So I guess I never. Yeah, I just never understood why would you sell your company, but I see predicaments like this. You $20,000 in the hole, and you trying to $20 million in the hole, and you trying to stay afloat.
But Nina was doing the work. She was trying to turn the ship around and find the money at the same time. But greed and impatience, is what led them to want to sell off part of their company when all you had to do was do the work. And
ultimately, they didn't trust Nina.
No, that's what.
Ultimately, they didn't trust Nina, though.
Oh, yes, the master's tools. The quote, the Audre Lorde, when she was quoting Audre Lorde with the master's tools. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I was like, I'm telling you, gems been dropped in this show.
And so they pushed the vote through. Mm-hmm. Nobody votes for her. She did have a conversation with Wanda and told Wanda, she saw where Wanda was on the outskirts of this. She thought she was going to flip Gus. She thought she was going to flip Alicia, but she wasn't able to flip the siblings. And she wasn't even able to flip her bed toy. Her bed toy was like, I'm going to do the best thing in the interest of my investment. So sorry, this business, but whenever you want to let me taste that again. Holla at me. But where this business is concerned, I'm gonna get this money.
Ain't that a mess? Is that a mess?
It's a
like
mess.
I know I just made you lose your company, but we can still be friends.
Right.
Call me tonight if you want some dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
But had she been
you ain't gonna never smell it again.
Right.
Get out my face.
But I feel like had she been maybe a little bit more nicer to him, I
Humble.
guess.
If she would have been a
Nicer.
little bit more humble, yeah, she would have been a little bit nicer. And that was his
Yeah.
problem with her even that morning at the beginning of the episode when he was trying to take her to dinner or breakfast or something. He was like, it's been 3 weeks now. So we learned that they've been sleeping together for 3 weeks. He was like, let's take this public. I want to know more about you. I want you to know about me or whatever. So it could have came out prior to her, but because he was using the 3 F's, she wouldn't hear for none of that. But I feel like if and I thought that was going to be her approach when she stormed off, like, okay, I've been sleeping with this dude. I'm going to flip him. And she probably could have used the power of the P to flip him if she would have approached him a little bit different. But she came in there with razor blades and lemon juice. And she was like,
but that's why I said, right.
Go ahead.
But that's why I said at the beginning, that's why I said at the beginning, though, that I felt like with her, it's that whole daddy issue thing. You can't trust anybody. You can't let anybody in. Because like you said, what made you think like you're being like y'all could have had a conversation.
Right.
But she also didn't trust him because remember, she thought he was a setup. She thought that Claudia
when he mentioned
was
Claudia's name, that's when it went south. When he mentioned Claudia's name,
nobody trusted anybody in this situation, which caused even more problems because nobody, which again, I think is how Gideon again felt like, look, operating in chaos. They're not paying attention.
Yep. And he was stacking the cards. He was building his own little house of cards.
Yep.
And he was moving the chess pieces around on the board.
He was.
And so he was thinking that their inner turmoil would cancel each other out.
Right. But
he didn't.
Remember, he did have Andre as the backup. He set Andre up. So even if it got caught, remember he had Andre on a nice platter. He set that account up and his name, all of that. So I mean, that's probably another reason why he wasn't worried about getting caught because he felt like he set up the perfect fall guy.
Right.
And with the fact that he was sleeping with Claudia, it just made it more believable.
Make it worse. Yes.
Yeah. It made it more believable.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And so the vote goes through. We find out that the secret shareholder is a distant cousin, who ended up giving his shares to Nina's mother.
The mama.
I said, ma'am.
Now that was a twist.
Ma'am.
That was a twist.
Said it, though. She had said it. She said something ain't right about this mama. She kept saying it. She was like, something ain't right about this mama. And that was a twist. I didn't see that.
But I'll tell you, I remember, and I said this in my review, I thought the secret shareholder was the mama.
Yeah, you did.
When they said it was a secret shareholder, I said, oh, it's the mama. It's the mama.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So when she turned around and ended up being, I thought it was mama that the secret shareholder. So when it ended up being the dude, I was like, oh, okay, I was wrong about that. So when the mama popped up, I said, oh, okay, they got me. She's still there though.
And Gideon, for you to be the executive of the estate and not know any of this happening up under your nose, I feel like he knew all of it, but he was going to let it play out.
Right.
Well, that's when I started suspecting Gideon. That's when I started suspecting Gideon because I was like, I said, you could have found that information out.
Yeah.
That would have been public record too. Just like everybody else found it, you should have been able to find it.
Right.
And I'm going to have to give it to Andre.
The fact that the cousin had to give her the shares because he was in debt and he literally sold her the shares. It's not like was on his deathbed and was like, here, take them. No, there's a record of that. Like he could have found it if he was looking. And I think he knew. And
I think that's what Andre found when he went down into that probate. When they show Andre down there at the probate,
yes,
I think that's when he found that out.
Oh, okay.
So,
because remember, Claudia wasn't surprised to see the mama. Claudia wasn't surprised when that mama popped up on that screen. She knew.
Oh,
she knew. Yeah, they all knew.
Oh, because Andre had already told her. Okay,
Andre had already found it out when he went down there to that probate.
Yeah. Okay.
So I knew right then and there that lawyer wasn't on the up and up. I still didn't think of him as an enemy to the fam. I just thought that he was working his own angle to try to get back into the company or to get his hands on some of these shares. So we did learn a lot in episode 4 as well. Yeah. Episode 5 is where things really start to unfold, and we see that Nina is not going to give up, even though she had pretty much lost the battle. She didn't give up the fight, and she was almost on the edge. She was almost on the edge where she was going to give up. I think she goes to Zurich because Maureen had mentioned that
It
Stephen
follows the
had been going to Zurich.
breadcrumbs.
She
Right.
followed the breadcrumbs.
Yep.
She followed the breadcrumbs, and she found the information she needed to find in Zurich. Where this is when we learned that there was a DNA test that had been had,
Mm-hmm.
and we found out that Wanda was not Stephen's child. So she takes this information back to Claudia. She busted in on their dinner.
She sure did. She sure did. I would have did the same.
Like, don't worry about dessert. I got it already here for
Okay.
you. I got a nice piece of
Okay.
cake for you right here.
I
She
got
was like,
something for you.
I need you to go undo what you just did,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm finna go tell Wanda what's up.
Yep.
And she was like, get out of my house. And she was like, at this rate, it ain't finna be yours much longer.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Okay.
I love Nina, yo. I love all her energy. I was
Me
here for
too.
all of it.
Me
was,
too.
She was a
Me too.
boss. She was
Me
a
too.
straight boss. She get over there to Zurich. I thought there was gonna be some money or something. I don't know what I thought she was gonna find in Zurich, because the whole situation with the hotel seemed real ominous.
It did.
Oh, your father said you would come, and this is the room. I thought she was gonna find something in the room. In the
Why
room.
am I silly behind? I thought he faked his death. I was like, did he
I
fake
was
his
looking for
death?
that to happen too. Now
Okay.
that would just make me turn it off at that point. I'm glad they didn't go that way. But I thought she was going to find something in that room to help them save the company or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he was adamant about her staying in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, there's something there that she's going to find.
Yeah, that's what I
But
thought.
it was the driver. It was the driver. And like Really B said off camera, a lot of times when we have a staff that works for us and spend a lot of time with us in our good moments, our bad moments, our private moments, those be the ones that have the real answers to what's going on. So that's why I feel like Maureen knew more what was going on too.
Right. I knew it was going to be the driver because when she first, I don't know. I knew it was going to be the driver because when she first got there and they showed her to the suite and the lady was like, we're going to let your father's personal driver is available. I said, oh, he got the information. I mean, something just told me he got information. And when she said, well, you'll have your father's personal driver. He was your father's driver every time he came to Zurich. I'm like, then he knows. I'm not saying he knew his deepest, darkest secrets, but I felt like he was going to have some information, which he did.
Yeah.
And see, the way you felt there about the driver, that's how I felt about the hotel room. And that's how I felt about the hotel room. So either way, we knew that the answers were there in Zurich because she even went to go see the doctor. The doctor said, yeah, he came to me for a second opinion. I confirmed his cancer was terminal. Was nothing we could do. We did learn that he didn't start treatment. He did not start treatment. So when he said that, I knew something was up. I knew something was up when he said that he didn't start treatment. I said, yeah, something ain't right with how he died.
Yes.
And so I said, we're going to get the answers in Zurich. Xavier, your comment, I think he would have been able to adopt him. I think he would have been able to adopt Wanda had she not been as old as she was. I think that was the issue.
Yes, it says she was not a minor anymore.
Yeah, she was too old.
In the document,
yeah.
But I think he wanted to put, but Xavier, and this lets you know how much he doesn't trust his family, because I think he wanted to adopt Wanda to protect her, even though he may have, he obviously was on the birth certificate, but even though he was on the birth certificate, I think he wanted to legally adopt her so there would be no what's the word I'm looking for? No
loopholes.
Leeway. No loopholes. Right. No loopholes. Now I would be interested to find out when he found out Wanda wasn't his daughter, because if he had just changed his will 6 months prior,
right? Was that
did he put that language in there? Because he clearly put that language in there so he would include the son that they don't know nothing about,
right?
But inadvertently he was excluding Wanda. But the question is, when did he find out about Wanda, and did he not have time to fix it? He clearly suspected.
I think he tried to fix it with the adoption.
Yes, but that still wouldn't have made her a genetic. But that still would not have made her a genetic child. So the fact that he still had that word in there, it still technically excludes Wanda.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So that's why I'm saying, when did he find out Wanda was not his genetic daughter? Because he could have easily have just changed that language. It's
Yeah.
interesting because again, I'm sure he put that language in there to include the son, but by including the son, you excluded your daughter. So I don't know. I just wonder when he knew.
Yeah.
But the life insurance, but again, he put everything
Maybe
in
that's
place
why
because
he left the
that,
life insurance.
that's what I was
Yes.
gonna say. That life insurance policy makes sure that
Oh,
Wanda is still good
Yeah.
okay.
because the life
Yeah.
insurance policy was for the kids and for the mom.
Yep.
So
Right.
he still took care of them
Yes.
outside of that will.
Right.
But I think
Right.
that will was specifically written to get Nina there.
Yep. And
Okay.
keep in
Well, Nina
mind,
and Simon,
and keep in
but
mind that his death wasn't anticipated. It was forced on
It
him.
was for right.
He
It
was
came.
he was
It came right.
right,
unalive against his
right.
will.
He was
Right.
dying, but
So
he
he
had
didn't really have
time. Right.
opportunity to kind of continue fixing the
Okay.
things that he was trying to fix in his
That
last moments.
that makes sense. That
So
makes sense.
that's the way I look at that.
That
So
makes sense.
the life insurance policy, you're absolutely right, really be.
Yeah.
The life insurance policy is how he would not disinherit her.
Right.
But
Right.
why go through leaving it in a safe when no one had the combination? If they hadn't have broken into the safe, they would have never found the life insurance policy.
Exactly. Or never would have even known
I
about
bet
it.
you somebody. I bet you that combination is somewhere. They just ain't find it because he left so many breadcrumbs. The combination is somewhere.
Mm.
I don't
But
think they were supposed to find it because
Yeah.
again, remember he had that letter in there about Wanda. They weren't supposed to find it. Now I don't know who was,
Yeah.
but somebody else was supposed to get that. I don't think because again, he wouldn't have put the life insurance policy in there if nobody was supposed to ever go in. But somebody was supposed to find it. It just wasn't supposed to be them.
Yeah, it was supposed to be them. Facts. And well, Xavier, we talked about that off camera too. The reason why we probably felt like he suspected that because he probably knew who his wife was.
right.
I
Okay.
mean, you know, he probably knew she had a human
Well, he
dildo
remember
on
he had
time.
the private. He
Okay.
had the private eye. Yeah, he had
Yep.
the private eye. So who
Oh.
knows what the private eye found? Who
Yeah.
knows? And Xavier. That's really a good question. That might be something that's a season 2 question. Who is the daddy?
Right. Right. That's what
Because
I
we're
want to
gonna
know.
find out that Wanda ain't his child. That's gonna happen. If there's a season 2, it's gonna come out. Too many people know
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
nobody not to come out.
Because
Right.
Alicia now
And
knows,
I
and
believe
I feel like that's going to come out in the argument.
Alicia
It
knows.
is. It is.
Alicia knows. Nina knows, and I think Gideon knows. I think
Oh,
Gideon knows.
yes.
Hell,
Yep.
while you bullshitting, Maureen might know.
Okay. Quiet as his cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
she
lady
might.
watched everybody. She
She
watched
might.
everybody.
The whole time.
I was telling her really be there. I said she was watching everybody.
Everybody.
So
She don't
that told me right there that she knew what was going on. While everyone else had their secrets, they weren't secret to her. She knew what was up. She just didn't speak on it because when Claudia was at the party trying to pump her for information, she was like, I'm not going to talk about what's happening in the office. And she stayed there late nights. So we know what's up. She knew what was up. And he probably
I haven't heard
in
anything
her.
about a season 2, Raven,
Yeah.
but they just left they left a lot for a season 2. Like there's a
Right.
lot there if they want to do a season 2.
Especially with how it ended. Now we could close it off, but I think with the show being a success as it has been, and I'm sure Amazon got good viewership with this, a good subscription. Gideon the daddy. Oh
What is
God,
Gideon's
no.
daddy? Okay.
No.
Nice.
Andre's the daddy. Andre is the daddy.
Damn.
Andre is the daddy.
Yeah.
No, not Gideon.
I honestly thought the reason why there was a rift between Gideon and Steven was that Steven had slept with Gideon's wife. That's what I thought. And that the child.
Let me tell you,
I thought so too.
Funny you should
I
say
thought
that.
so
It's
too.
so funny you should say that because when they shot that scene at the funeral, because Gideon and Maureen was in the same frame when they shot that scene, I thought they were husband and wife initially. Before we found out who the characters were, I said, "Oh, that's his wife, who was his secretary."
Yeah, right.
Because they keep screaming about it, family on business. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I thought that the woman, when Claudia went to the lighthouse and that woman came and brought her those cookies, remember that was at the same time that they were finding out about Gideon's son and his wife and everything. I said, is that Gideon? I mean, found out later on what the purpose of that scene was, because they wanted us to know that she's a gardener and that she deals with the poisonous plants and stuff. Like, all right, I get that. But at first I was like, oh, is that Gideon's wife? Okay. But now I was like, no, that wasn't Gideon's wife.
No. What was the plant that they called it? Was it husband killer or poison something?
The husband killer.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
That's what they called it. It was a husband killer. And we knew that she was into plants and stuff because we had saw her pruning those roses in an earlier scene.
Yes.
So, okay. And then when the neighbor came up and said, oh, I didn't know you were down here. I brought you some cookies. Go wash your hands because you like to deal with them poisonous plants. That's the husband killer right there. And they laughed and went in and had the cookies. I said, that's how she got rid of them.
Yep.
I just wish they would have. The only gripe I have about that, I wish they would have shown us Stephen ingesting something before he died. A drink, something, eating something. I wish they would have shown us that. So in our mind, we could say,
wasn't he drinking tea or coffee?
I thought he
was drinking tea. Didn't Maureen bring him some tea or something?
I feel like he was drinking tea.
Either I thought he had tea. I could be wrong.
I feel like he was drinking tea.
I thought he was drinking something.
I'm gonna have to argue with y'all on that.
Why?
Because I went back and watched the episode. Once I realized that she killed him, I went back to see if he had ingested anything in those earlier scenes. They only showed him that one time.
Oh, okay.
And he was having that meeting with the journalist.
Okay.
And then after he had the meeting with the journalist, he called Nina. And then after he called Nina, he was leaving and he collapsed. They never showed a coffee cup sitting on his desk. They never showed a plate or anything sitting on his desk. So because the whole season, I thought it was in the liquor because they made a point to show the decanters sitting in the office with the liquor in it. I thought maybe that's how he got poisoned.
Yeah. Okay.
But I wish that they would have shown us at some point, even if it was a flashback, him ingesting something from her.
Okay.
For us to make that click, because I felt like that was a different direction they went in towards the end when Gideon got found out. I don't understand why he didn't give up Claudia when Simon and Nina confronted him at the country club.
Right, because I would have been singing like a bird. I'm like,
why are you protecting her? Why are you protecting her?
But maybe he was
she in on the stealing the money part too?
Yeah, but maybe he's gonna use that to leverage something else that he knows. Go ahead.
That's a point.
Really, B. I saw you.
Go ahead, Mom.
I think I'm agreeing with Raven. She said it may be something he ingested over time, and I agree. I think whoever killed him, because I don't know if it was Claudia or not, but I think whoever killed him, I do think it was over time. I kind of do think it was Claudia though, because she looked guilty when Gideon confronted her. She said she said the right thing, but her reaction tells me that she was
involved.
And Xavier was like, why would Claudia do it? And me and Retro were having this conversation offline. I think Stephen was going to divorce her. You see in his will, the life insurance policy was there, but you see in his will, he barely took care of her. He did just enough so that she wouldn't be destitute, but he didn't give her nothing extra. And so, in our world, $20,000 a month is great. But for somebody who's used to spending, she was going to spend $500,000 on a party for one night. But I think he was going to fight. I think that was the purpose of the investigation. I think that was part of the reason for the him wanting to adopt Wanda. I think he was putting all his ducks in a row. One, he knew he was dying. And two, I think he was putting all his ducks in a row. But I think he was getting ready to divorce Claudia because he knew once he died, he knew he had to get his business in order. The other thing that I just thought about while I was talking, that life insurance policy in the safe was before he changed his will.
Yeah, all that happened around the same time. I feel like all that happened around the same time. Him finding out about Wanda, that life insurance. I feel like that's why all that was grouped together there in that space, in that place. And I feel like he didn't have opportunity to amend any of those things prior to let me get this will updated quick, fast, in a hurry.
Okay,
exactly. And again, remember, she didn't know he had changed the will. That's why she threw a fit. She thought she knew,
what the will was.
But I'm still trying to. Okay, so if he had the life insurance policy that was already in place,
I hope they do. I hope they do a reveal.
Something, because there's still like pieces of the story that we just need answers to. Still like holes in it.
And I guess I'm thinking about
Right.
it now because even with a plant, I guess it depends on how lethal the plant is. I mean, I don't think it's lethal to touch. I would think like something like that you would probably have to ingest in either a copious amount or either over a period of time.
Yeah.
And it
And
had
over
to have
time.
been
It could be a
it had
little
to been
bit over
small
time.
doses because he was in medical care with the best doctors around the world. So they would have seen that he had some type of poison toxins in tests that they were running on him. So I agree. It may have to have been something that was ingested over a period of time that led to organ failure. I've never known for a plant to lead to organ failure, but when you're already sick,
right,
your organs are already at risk of, I mean, at any point in time, if you have a terminal illness, it could be a kidney, it could be a lung, it could be a heart. At any point in time, your organ can fail. So,
and remember when Ian confronted her, she even said, well, he was in treatment for his cancer. Everybody knows he was sick. And Gideon was like, nah, he hadn't started his treatment yet.
Yep.
So then she thought, well, you know, heart attacks are common if you're taking chemo or doing other things. And he was like, but he hadn't started yet. So I think she's guilty. I just think we got to figure out. I think we got next season. If there's, and Xavier said this is one of their top rated shows. So I guess that's a good chance there will be a season 2. But for next season, you have to look those breadcrumbs and bring it all together. Now, that doesn't mean she did it. Just like, you know, this season, it may not be the obvious person. But
my answer to that, Xavier, my answer to that is I think that she was secretly in love with him. I don't think it was just a love child. Because we saw just a little bit of concern when she was trying to leave that night. She was like, do you need anything? You look tired.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So I think that she was in love with him and maybe possibly may have thought that he was getting ready to leave Claudia for her.
I don't leave.
I think
going back to Really B's theory about him finding out about Claudia's infidelity and her schemes and shenanigans and her love child, he may have confided in Maureen about this and may have made her a promise. This woman, you have a child with her and you have a wife at home. You got to give this woman something to hold on to, hope for her to keep coming to work for you every day. For her to hold your secrets for you. So I feel like secretly she may have felt as if he was getting ready to start a life for her. And maybe that's why the whole child is hidden. Maybe that's why he left her the $1 million, and because he took care of the child with the $30 million that he left his genetic sibling, his genetic children, and he took care of the mama with leaving her $1 million.
I think that was genuine. I think it was a long-term affair. I just think it was a long-term affair. They may or may not have even been still actively involved in the affair when he died. I mean, the son was grown. You know what I mean? The son wasn't even living at home because he was like, Mom, what are you doing visiting me? So he's grown. Like he's at least 18, 19 years old. At the very least, he's probably in his early 20s. So I think they probably were in something hot and heavy at one time. And then they just sort of settled into this, confidant. I think he very much knew that he had a son. I think he had a relationship with the child. I don't think it was a hideaway. He didn't know. He clearly knew the son was there.
Right.
He clearly, I feel like he did.
I do too.
For whatever reason, they never went public. Maybe it was a race thing. She was white, he was black. Maybe it was, like you said, because clearly we see he ain't got no problem cheating. He cheated on his first wife with his second wife and had churn and everything else. So let's not over romanticize Stevie. He's clearly a bastard. Like when it comes to women, he's clearly a bastard. So I just think I think they maybe genuinely had a relationship, but I think by the time he died, they just were comfortable. They were familiar to each other. He trusted her. She's probably the only person around there he did trust when he died.
And she wasn't resentful.
Trusted her.
and she wasn't resentful. And they could have been just like, we grown and we doing our own thing, and there's no strings attached. It could have been just no strings attached fun, but clearly she
But
wasn't.
Xavier, why would she do that? Xavier said, "I want to know why Maureen was hiding the baby." I don't think she was hiding the baby. I think Stephen knew exactly who that baby was, and why not cashing on the child support? I think Stephen was very much taking care of Maureen.
So
we saw
too.
how. I think when she was alive, I think he very much took care of Maureen. And why would she bring it up after the baby? She got $1 million. I think in her mind, she was like, "Okay, he left me $1 million. We're good."
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, she probably had a six-figure salary.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably taking care of her.
Yeah, she probably had a six-figure salary.
I don't think it occurred to her. I mean, I just don't think it occurred to her. I think her and Stephen had a comfortable arrangement for a very long time. Both of them were happy with what it was. I think she was more than taken care of financially. I think that he very much knew who his son was and took care of his son. That's just what I think. I don't know.
And we also see that she wasn't resentful. In his death, she still tried to keep his secrets.
Yeah.
Her deleting those emails told the tale of how she felt about him. Even in death, even in knowing that he got children over here in America, even though she knows he got 3 children over here and a child with me, she still was not resentful. She still was not like, oh, I'm gonna stick it to him now and get more, because she could have stepped forward and asked for more, just like Claudia was trying to be greedy for more.
Right.
But she took what he gave her and she was satisfied with that.
I think Xavier asked another question. He said, "But why hide the baby from the siblings?" And I would say because she had a sweet deal.
With the first kids. It's the same thing. It's his MO. It's the same thing he did with the first kids. The first kids didn't have a relationship with the second set of kids.
Right.
The second set of kids didn't have a relationship with the third.
Right. Right.
I just think that's just how he moved.
Right.
He moved in such a way where, and they didn't care anyway.
No.
And the thing about it is that second set of kids, they felt like they were the one and only, even though they knew that there was other children out there. They didn't care. They felt like, we're the kids in the house. We're the ones who work at the company. We're the ones who's getting the money. We're out at the club every week swiping credit cards. They all lived in paid for houses.
Yeah.
They felt like nobody was a threat to them.
Right.
And at this point, he was probably closer
to
a billionaire.
Popular belief, right. And contrary to popular belief, good side chicks know their role. They know that they celebrate. They know they celebrate Valentine's Day on the 15th. They know that they go on private vacations. They don't get to take pictures and post it on the internet. They know. Even in death, she knew her role, and he took care of them. That was the arrangement. Yeah. It was what it was. Yeah. Like when you agree to that, that's what you sign up for. And you don't. I mean, it sounds. I'm not trying to be funny, but you don't get to break the rules. That was the arrangement. She was the side chick. She was the. You know, she was my.
And keep in mind, she tried to resign from this job 3 times. 3 times she turned in her resignation. Yeah. She tried to slip away quietly in the background. She tried to fade away in the background. Even when she was at the will reading, she didn't say one word. She didn't even react to her inheritance. At the funeral, she was in the back. You know, she played her role.
She played her role. She knew. She
slipped in the background. Because at first I thought she had something to do with the missing money. At first I thought she had something to do with the missing money. It would have been easy for them to write that she was the one that was stealing the money.
Yeah,
she was a jilted lover. She was a angry baby mama, but she wasn't that. I'm sorry, but that character wasn't that. That character was well written. That character was well written.
I'll give you that.
If you gonna be the side chick and you walk in the front door, he didn't lose. You didn't think he was single. If you walk in the front door as the side chick, you got to play the side chick rules.
That's why don't sign up to be no side chick. You never win.
And
you always got to be in the background.
And she still.
I'm about to say you don't win.
No.
And she didn't even try to sabotage Nina. She didn't try to sabotage Nina.
No.
Other than deleting those emails, but she did that for the real reason I think she did it for, is to protect Steven's privacy. Is that what she said?
Yeah.
She's like, I didn't want his business out in the street.
That's true.
So, all right. So overall, I'm sorry. I'm here for riches. It's good TV. It's better than what we got going over there at Stars.
Didn't I tell you
better
you
than
were
what we got
gonna
going
like
over there at
it?
Stars.
Right.
You did.
It's
Kudos
better than
to
the
you.
Tyler Perry lineup too. I'll
I'm
give
telling
you
you
that.
what. I'll take this
Oh
over all
Lord.
25 seasons of the Have and Have-Nots. I'll take this over all 25 seasons of the
I
Have
never
and
Oh
even
Have-Nots.
Lord, the
watched
have and
the
the
show.
have-nots. Oh my God.
I never even. I don't even.
You ain't
watch
missed
I have
nothing.
not.
You did not miss nothing.
I have not.
Okay, I have not.
I have not.
I have not.
All right.
Listen, you
We
ain't missed
appreciate y'all
nothing.
coming and hanging out with us. That show was terrible. It was beyond terrible. I made it through season 1. I ain't gonna even lie. I made it through season 1, but after that, I was like, no, I'm not here for any of this. So we still got to finish Best Man for you guys. So we got to wait for Really Be to watch episode 4. So we'll be back to talk to you about episode 4 of Best
I watched
Man.
episode 4. I watched it.
Okay, so we got to get back and talk to y'all about Best Man. That's another good show that we're watching right now. We got Bel Air coming up in February, BMF, and I guess we're on standby waiting for book 2.
Oh, you sound so excited.
Coming on right. Book 2 comes on
February
right
2, right?
Remember, book 2 comes on in March. Didn't they say March the 13th
March.
or
Okay.
something?
So we got stuff to roll on out. We got stuff. We got Belle here, so Belle's gonna come and hang out with us a little bit.
Yes.
Belle, go ahead and tell them about what you got going on over there on your channel.
That's what I was going to
Oh, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. So I don't know if anybody watches on the channel on what is it called? Love and Marriage Huntsville. Do y'all keep up with that? So I definitely
I do.
That's my show. That is my show. And
got
then
your new
Love and
friend.
Marriage
Okay.
I said you got your new friend because y'all two right here.
I love that show. We got to talk about how you feel about Mel, because that usually causes a rift in friendships. I know I got a rift in my group chat going on about Mel. Anyway, so Love and Marriage DC, Love and Marriage Huntsville.
You a millimeter?
Huh? No, ma'am.
You a millimeter? Okay.
No,
then we
ma'am.
good.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay. I am not a millimeter. No. Who a Best Man? I am. Are y'all watching Kindred? The Octavia Butler.
No, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not reviewing it. But I do want to watch it.
It's good. It's really good. I had to go get the book, so I'm reading the book. So I'm doing that as well. So yeah, and I'm waiting for P Valley to come back.
We'll wait 2 more years.
Right.
Oh, I say you be waiting on that, Lord.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say, put Belle's link in the chat. I know that y'all like good, people that are reviewing these shows and giving y'all some good content. This is we found our Best Man reviews, and retro literally had just said, I promise you, we had just had the conversation, and he was like, well, you think he was like, she's been leaving some really good comments on video, and you think we should reach out? And I looked at your channel, I subscribed, and I was like, yeah. I was like, go ahead and reach out to her. And then, like, I promise you, not even an hour later, it wasn't even an hour later, was it, Retro, where you had sent the email? We literally had just had the conversation that we were
honestly, I was commenting,
and I said, well, she.
I was gonna say, I was commenting, and I'm like,
yeah,
dang, I want to be on.
Yep, come on. Yes. We welcome all over here. So I mean, we just have a good time. We like to watch.
Oh yeah, we're all about that. And yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Y'all know how we do. We support when it's good content. We want to support it. So we are definitely when I watch Kindred, I will check out your reviews. Raven said she just subscribed. Thank you. So we look forward to collabing. This was fun. This was definitely fun. Lady Virtue, thank you. Fun. She said she just subscribed. Thank you. I know Xavier going to subscribe. All right, thank you, V Carter. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. She's got great content. She got great content over there.
Thank you.
But yeah,
Xavier,
when
you're
I get
gonna have
to
to come on over
episode
here
4,
to Best
I
Man and
watched
leave your
it.
comments because I want to unpack what you're talking about. Mia is the real villain of Best Man, so you're gonna have to get over there on the Best Man videos and drop that comment over there so we can talk about that.
How is Mia the real villain? I need to know.
I need to know too, but we're gonna have to talk about that over there on Best Man because I need to know what Xavier talking about.
I feel like Harper is the villain.
No, Harper is not the villain.
Harper is the villain, knowing good and doggone. I don't even. Wait, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it.
We'll talk about that later.
I know. I haven't watched it.
Mia is dead. What are you talking about? Mia is dead. How is she the villain?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I know it's Harper. He the villain.
Harper is the big.
I don't want to know. La 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 la.
I agree with that, Xavier, but you're wrong about Mia. Mia's dead. Mia's been dead since 1999. She's been dead since 1999. How's she the villain?
Exactly.
She's not
Mia really been dead since 1999.
What are you talking about? No, she's not.
Y'all tripping.
Y'all tripping for real.
I think that's
Mia. Okay. I don't want to know.
I haven't watched. I haven't watched it either, but I just know.
I don't want to know anything, so.
We'll talk about that over the Best Man. We'll talk about it over there on the Best Man. All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all get over there to the Bell Perspective TV and subscribe. We want to get her subscribers up. We want to get her views up. And we appreciate y'all coming hanging out with us on a Wednesday night. This was fun. We'll be back later on this week. We're gonna get into episode 4 of Best Man. So y'all, we'll probably do a live for that one as well. So we'll get back out here and talk about Best Man this week. All right, guys, it's been fun.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Any last minute comments?
Thank you.
All right.
No, thank y'all for coming over. We had a good conversation as always. Thank y'all for being here.
Peace, y'all.
See you.